Hi everyone and welcome to the Back to Blighty podcast. My name is Becky and I'm joining you today from the south coast of England where I live with my partner, our son, when he isn't at university, which he has gone back to after 18 months, so I'm really glad he can finish his final year, and our Springer Spaniel called Molly. So that was a bit of a long-winded introduction. I am sitting with my cup of tea on my creaky old rocking chair, and it has been a while since I last spoke to you guys. So this is episode 33, I believe. Better check, yes, out of practice, as you can see. And there's a really good reason for that. I have not been very well. Some of you may know that I work in social emotional mental health, and I work in primary and secondary schools in our near city, Brighton and Hove. And I wasn't very well just before the end of term, and I had the summer holidays off, and I wasn't well all the way through the summer holidays, and it kind of went on and on and on. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I am better now, much better, and it turns out that I have an intolerance to lactose. So in my tea I have a lactose-free milk, and I have tried a couple of times to eat a few things with a little bit of milk in, and just doesn't work out for me. So yeah, so it has been such a long time since I last spoke to you, so apologies for that. And also I wasn't even well enough to knit, that's how bad it was. So but the last sort of 3 weeks or so I've got my mojo back, and I've got lots of things that I want to recap on, some new things that I've made and finished, some potential new whips, some spinning, all the lovely fibery good stuff. So I hope you have also got a beverage of your choice, and we'll get cracking on. So I might have to pause the video and reshuffle because my coffee table here is absolutely chocker with lots of things. So yeah, I think we'll just get into it. So first of all, I am wearing a new jumper that I cast on just before we went away. We went away to see some friends, and I wanted to cast something on and finish the yoke so that I could then just do plain knitting. So I finished the yoke of this in, I don't know, probably a week. Took it away with me, didn't knit a stitch on it, apart from on the journey, but otherwise didn't knit a stitch. So yeah, that was lovely. We went and saw our lovely friends and spent some time kind of out in the countryside, which was gorgeous. But anyway, let me get on to the jumper. So this is the Bernie jumper. I'm going to stand up so you can have a little look. So it's got this lovely lace detail. It's kind of a little bit cropped, which is my preference, and I went rogue in the pattern and did just an I-cord bind off on the sleeves. This is a pattern by Alice Hammer, and it's a paid for pattern on Ravelry, and I knit it using this yarn, which is a sport weight yarn, which is from John Arbon Textiles. It's actually a bit darker than that, the light's kind of coming in, but it's this lovely heathered yarn, and it is Yarnadelic. And it's Nobody Knows, I think. Yes. So it's 100% Falklands Corriedale, and it is absolutely beautiful. As I said, it's a sport weight, heavy 4-ply, and I just really like it. It's got a lovely drape. Because it's a long wool, it drapes really nicely. So I'm really pleased with it. Yeah, and it goes with lots of things. There's some really nice heathering of browns and pinks and blues, and as I said, it is blowing out. It's not really that light. It's like that colour, but it also gets away with being like a grey, so it's quite neutral, which I really love. I went a bit longer with the sleeves, and I'm really pleased with those. So this, basically the cuff is the same for the ranunculus pattern, so I just picked up the stitches, knit all the way down, and then did a decreased row and then an I-cord bind off. And I really like these kind of sleeves. They're kind of my preference at the moment. I seem to be doing everything like them. With me, I do tend to quite often on a pattern follow the yoke and then do my thing, which is just straight down, a bit cropped, and balloon sleeves. But yeah, I love it, and it's nice and lightweight, but it's lovely and warm as well. So I'm really pleased with it. Yeah, Great pattern, really well written, lots of sizes, so I do recommend that you go and check that out. Okay, so the other thing that I finished is a pair of socks, and these are my wood pigeon socks. And this yarn is from West Yorkshire Spinners, and I've had them on the needles for ages. I kind of lost my sock mojo, and I think part of it is because I prefer to knit with more natural yarns nowadays. So I have some yarn coming from Garthenor, who I haven't tried before. I've got some sock yarn on its way. I had the email just now saying it's coming. So my next pair of socks is going to be on some more natural yarn because that is my preference. I just prefer the gauge, I prefer the feel. So yeah, but these will get worn and they're a bit floppy on my blockers actually. Forgive that, but yeah, nice pair of socks. And I'm really pleased with them. I just did my usual vanilla, which is 64 stitches, twisted 1x1 rib, afterthought toe, no, afterthought heel, and a wedge toe. Yeah, so, but they will get worn. They are my two finished objects. I'm going to pop them down there. So I've got some whips. Now my first whip to show you is something that I haven't picked up for a while, but I've only got the cuff of the sleeve to do. So this is my Strange Brew sweater out of the Strange Brew book by Tin Can Knits. That was a bit of a tongue twister, and it's using my hand spun. So this hand spun here is from Spin Jones and it's a gradient, and I have loads left of it as well. So I've just gone into the pink and it goes yellow, green and blue, I think. So got loads of that left. So yeah, so this is an Aran weight cardigan. It was my first steek, so it's not that pretty. I haven't even finished it yet, but I will show you kind of how messy it is. It's really messy, and I was going to put a ribbon in to finish it, but I might just try kind of folding it over and then felting it, because if I do that, oh, excuse the clattering of the needles, if I do that, can you see I can get quite a nice edge? I'm not sure, I will sort that out when I get to it, but yeah, I have finished the body and I have finished the sleeves, and I've done a little bit of the patterning on the bottom and on the sleeves as well. I'll show you the back so you can kind of have a really good look at it. There you go. So yeah, Strange Brew, Spin Jones hand spun for the colour, and then the main colour is Jameson Smith in their Shetland Heather colourway, which is just a really nice grey. It's blowing out again. That's more like the colour it actually is. So yeah, it's coming on. As I said, I've just got to do the cuff, done the bit of colour work on there, but yeah, just need to finish the cuff and then I can figure out what I'm going to do with that steek and then block it. Or maybe I'll block it first and then figure out. Anyway, either way. So that should be done by the next time I talk to you. And I am thinking of making a cowl to go with it, with what I've got left over here, because it's such nice yarn. It's really, really lovely, and I really want to use every last bit. And quite often, especially the weather has turned here in the UK, and all of a sudden it's got cold. Yesterday it was freezing and we haven't had our heating on, and we put our heating on, and I was working from home and I was sitting typing away and I just got really cold, and in the end I was wearing a shawl, a handmade jumper and fingerless mitts. None of them matched, but you know, working from home, one of the perks of the job. But I think I might use this and make a cowl so I can wear it with that cardigan and also with other things. So yeah, have got plans to use up every last bit of this. So what else have I got going on? Okay, I feel like I'm talking so quickly to you. I'm going to have a slurp, and I think you might have picked that up on the microphone, that slurp. Apologies. I have started my sweater of dreams. So you may remember in my last podcast or the podcast before, can't remember, But I started swatching for my Yule Sweater, which is a pattern by the amazing Susan Crawford, and I had done the swatch. So I've actually cast it on, and this is something that's tinkering away kind of in the background when I feel like I want something where I want to focus, and I do find that quite mindful to do that. I just picked this up. So it lives in my mum's basket, which is very special to me because my mum isn't with us anymore. And it lives on the bottom of the coffee table, and every now and then I pick it up and I do some knitting on it. So I have done quite a bit. This is as far as I have got. I mean, how gorgeous is that? It is just so, so lovely. So I've got to make sure I don't drop any stitches. But it's, I'm trying to struggle with the light coming in from the window, so bear with. There we go. Okay, so this is how it is looking at the moment, and I will pop a picture in actually here of the finished sweater because it is just the most stunning piece of knitwear. It is my sweater of dreams. So yeah, I'm getting on with that. So I think I'm kind of, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches away from steeking for the armholes. Yeah, a bit nervous about that, but yeah, looking forward to it. So this is a long-term project and I'm enjoying every stitch of it, and it's nice to know that this is going to hopefully last me for the rest of my life, which is really, really nice. So yeah, loving how this is knitting up. I am using Jameson Smith. I've got this massive cone. I found that if I bought a cone, it was cheaper than buying however many balls of yarn I needed. So yeah, so I just bought a cone and thought I can use that in so much colour work. And then yeah, all these lovely colours for the rest of it, which is a complete mess, but yeah, lovely colours. So I've now got everything wrapped around the handle of my basket. I'm just going to put that over there and forget about it for a minute. So really loving that project, and I'm not sure I will show you every time unless I've made a big bit of progress, but I will kind of keep you updated as I go along with that. So that's really exciting. Okay, what else have I got? Okay, I'm going to reach over there and grab a couple of bits, bear with me. Right, other things I have on the needles, which I haven't done an awful lot on, but I'm going to show you anyway because it will get me give me a bit of a kick up the backside to get going. I am making the crystal shawl, and I am using Plutelope, which is this gorgeous green. It's actually darker. Yeah, it's more like that. And I have made this before. I made a brown version and I wear it all the time. It seems to be the most versatile shawl, and I think it's because it's really lovely and airy because of the lace, and it's really, really big. So I wear it an awful lot, and I'm now making a green version. So it's got this lovely, simple lace detail, which is really nice, and you can really see the halo on that yarn. It's beautiful. And then it has a really lovely border as well. So I'm getting on with it. I think I have just got to the bit where I knit it straight for a little bit and then start decreasing. So yeah, almost halfway on that. I mean, you know, that's not even halfway. So you can see how big it is. And when you kind of bunch it up and it goes around your neck, it's just the coziest shawl and the warmest shawl as well. So I'm still kind of going with that. So that's a bit of a kind of mindless knitting project for me at the moment. The other shawl I have on the needles is my Sniffled Shawl, which I am knitting along with the lovely Lynn from Cowl yarns, and we have both kind of put it aside for the summer because we're using hand spun that we've spun ourselves, and it's so thick and it's colour work and it's hand spun, and yeah, it's a big old shawl. So it's kind of been on the back burner because it was far too warm to knit on it in the summer, but now that the winter's here, I'm going to get going with it again. And the hand spun that I've used is all from John Arbon, and I have been using these colours, and also a lighter green, but that seems to have disappeared out of my bag, although it might be because I've used it all and I don't need any more. Yeah, that's what happens when you leave a pattern too long, isn't it? Anyway, so this is as far as I've got. It's a steech shawl, so it's a bit of an odd shape, but this is how far that I have got with it. So it's got this gorgeous colour work here. These were supposed to be bobbles. I forgot, didn't even look at the pattern really, just did what I thought was right, and clearly it wasn't. And then you've got this lovely kind of snowfall, and Sniffled is Danish for snowfall. So you've got this lovely snowfall bit, and then you've got these like flowers, and the flowers are kind of bubbles. So you can see I've got some bubbles coming on there. So yeah, so it's going to be lovely. And yeah, so it's going to look kind of like that when it's been unsteeked, if you see what I mean. When it's opened out, it will be a triangular shawl like that. So I'm really enjoying it. Just haven't done it for absolutely ages, so I really need to get on with that. And this was like one of the first projects that I knit using my own hand spun, so it's quite uneven, it's quite rustic, but you know, that's the charm, isn't it, of hand spun yarn. So, and looking at my spinning now, it's much more consistent than it was then, so it's really nice to see progress. But I think that's going to be a really good kind of sit on the sofa when it's cold in the winter and have it around your shoulders, and it is like a big blanket. So yeah, I'm going to get on with that. I'm going to start that up again, I think, quite soon, because I've got some things that are kind of plans / adoptions, shall we say. I quite like using the word adoptions rather than acquisitions, because it's like, you know, you're giving it a home, you're giving something a home that needs a home, which kind of suits me, really suits my thinking. So the first thing, I haven't actually cast on yet, but I have swatched, and I am going to be making the Magnolia Cardigan by Camilla Vad, and I shall pop a picture in here. I'm sure most of you have probably seen it, but I know that my lovely friend Julia from the Happy Knitting podcast knit this a little while ago, and it was absolutely beautiful. So I thought I'm going to jump on that bandwagon and knit myself one. So I've gone green again. Going through a bit of a green phase at the moment, aren't I? But it's more of a petrol-y blue-green. So this is my swatch. And this is using Drops Lima. Oh, Drops Lima. And Drops Kid Silk. So they're my colours. This is in Sea Green and this is in North Sea. So the colours are more like that because it's blowing out, which I might have told you several times now. But yeah, so that's kind of the colour it is. So it's a bluey green, and I really love the finish. I have pretty much got gauge with the recommended needles. I think I'm one row out. So I think it's 22 rows in 4 inches, and I think I got 21. So I'm just going to adjust the pattern at the armholes and everything and the length to make sure that I've kind of incorporated that and taken that into account. But yeah, really blowing out. Yeah, it's really not that colour, it's this colour. So I've done my swatch and I am going to cast that on next. That's my next project, and it's just so soft, and it's got a lovely, again, kind of, you can see the drape on it. It's really, really nice. So yeah, looking forward to starting that project next, which is very exciting. Okay, the other thing I've got is a new project / plan, but I need to finish probably my crystal shawl first because it is a shawl. And I was surfing the interwebs, as you do, and just came across this shawl and then Googled it a bit more and found a kit. So this is the Railway Shawl by Handful of Colour, and I will pop a picture in here. It is the most amazing shawl, and it's not just green, it's got a bit of green in it, I think, but not a lot of green, which is a nice change. And it is a lovely shawl that's done using 2 of these. So they're done using 2 Zauber balls, and here they are. So here are the balls that I have. Again, blowing out, ignore that light. But yeah, these are the two, and I'm going to make that shawl, and I'm not going to lie, I'm really excited about it. And I think, yeah, it's going to be a really good neutral because there's so many colours in it that it will go with so many things. Whew, I think I've got silk haze on my face. Yeah, but I think it will go with everything, and just looks like a really fun, jolly shawl. I think with winter coming, we kind of need something that's like bright and colourful, and yeah, so I'm really looking forward to casting that on. But I do feel that I need to finish my crystal shawl first, but that's mindless knitting, so this could be kind of focus knitting. We'll see. We'll see. I'll let you know in the next podcast whether or not I've cast that on before finishing my other shawl. So yeah, so that's all my kind of plans and projects. So the other thing I've got to share with you is a bit of spinning, and I have finished 2 spins. I finished this one, which is John Arbon Appledore in Slack McGirdle. I absolutely love this spin. It is so beautiful, really, really love it. And the content of this is Devon Closewool, Romney and Exmoor Blueface. So it's rustic, it's not itchy at all, but then I don't really notice that sort of thing. I quite like a rustic yarn, so yeah, so that was my first one. And then this one I think I was spinning when I last spoke to you, and this is from Fellview Fibres. Fellview, I always say Fellview, it's Fellview Fibres, and this is Wild and Woolly, and I love that as well. And I'm kind of thinking in some sort of, sorry, it's Molly walking around if you can hear the tapping, kind of thinking some sort of shifty or something. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them yet, but they will get used. I'm just going to squidge them for a little bit longer, so yeah, quite pleased with those. And then I was going to show you my spin that I'm sort of over halfway through because I'm on the second bobbin, and I took my bobbin off of the spinning wheel because it was just sitting on there while I'm spinning the other one, and it snapped. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. Yeah, it's just snapped. So this bit here has just broken off where it screws in, so now I have that. I might just actually put a bit of super glue in there, stick it back on just so I can get it off the bobbin. Anyway, I'm digressing. So this again is another, mind you, it feels like the other one's going to go. Oh, I'm really nervous about that now. Okay, carry on with the podcast. So this is John Arbon again, and this is Nimbus Cloud. It's the viola top, and it's 100% merino, but it's really, really lovely. Really enjoying that spin. It's the first time I've actually spun just 100% merino, and it took me a little while to kind of get into the groove of it, but I think I have got there now. I've just broken bobbin. Can you believe that? Just, yeah. I mean, I really like the 3D ones, 3D printed ones, because as you're spinning, the fibre doesn't catch on it, especially when you are plying and you're kind of pulling it back. It doesn't get caught, whereas on the wooden ones, sometimes they get caught on the bobbin, on the edge of it, whereas the 3D printed ones don't. However, they clearly break. Yeah, not very happy about that. I don't know what I'm going to be making with that at the moment. But it's quite a nice neutral, so maybe I'll pop it into a colourwork jumper or something like that along the way. We'll see. So otherwise, I have a couple of things that I want to show you, and one I've realised I've left in another room, so I will be back in a second. There's always something. Hold on a minute. Okay, I'm back. So I bought some fibre from, I'm just trying to have a look, Hilltop Cloud, and I bought 2 gradient packs. I got this one, which kind of goes from greys through yellows down to pinks and purples. Hope you can see that fairly well. And this one, which goes from blue greys all the way down to the greens, and I love both of them. And what I'm thinking of doing is I'm thinking of putting them together in that order and just spinning up a single ply and making a really nice shawl, because I think that will be lovely. Have no idea what pattern yet. It's going to take me a while to spin. There's 140 grams in each. This one is Corriedale Bamboo and Merino, and this one is Merino BFL Linen. Not spun with linen before, so yeah, really looking forward to knitting with those and spinning with those first, obviously. So yeah, so that's kind of a new acquisition. Otherwise, I haven't bought any yarn apart from my rainbow shawl yarn and for my Magnolia cardigan, so I've been really good. But as I said, I haven't really felt like knitting for a little while, so yeah, it saved me some money, what can I say. Saving money on fuel as well at the moment, aren't we folks, here in the UK? What's all that about? So yeah, anyway, digressing again. So yeah, so that's what I got. And then I was so lucky, I had a message from the lovely Fiona, who is Cheesy Sheep on Instagram, and she messaged me because she was telling me that her manager is also a part-time sheep farmer, and he has warbles, or warblers. I never know how you pronounce that. Anyway, she said he had given her loads of fleece and would I like some? So I was like, yeah, of course, yes please. So she sent me this massive bag of fleece. I'm going to open it up and like inhale. It smells amazing, but it is just beautiful. And you can see here all those lovely tips that have bleached in the sun. They are beautiful. You can really feel the lanolin in it. Even though Fiona has kind of washed this already for me, you can still feel it, and it's really springy. It's so lovely. Yeah, really looking forward to that. In a second, the dog will be out because she'll be like, something smells good. I want to go and stick my nose in that. But yeah, so that was so kind. So I have this massive bag that I've got to prep. I'm probably not going to do it now until next summer. And I haven't really been prepping a great deal of fleece because I haven't been well enough to do it. So yeah, I'm going to put that with something, and it is just so beautiful. Mind you, now I'm thinking, what about the Hansel hat, like the big one? With this being the main dark colour, and then these being the kind of coloury bits. That's a thought. Not another shawl. I've got to finish a shawl. Too many shawls, too little time. So yeah, so that's kind of my knitting and spinning. And lovely gifts. Thank you so much, Fiona. That was so kind of you. Yeah, really, really thoughtful. So I really, really appreciated that. There's lots of really, reallys going on now. So yeah. So in other news, I have been back at work. Term started about 4 weeks ago now. So yeah, back at work, and we're now in schools again for the most part, although a lot of my work and meetings and things I'm still doing at home or virtually, which works really well for me, especially, as I said, with the whole fuel problems going on at the moment. Yeah, that's interesting. Been back at Morris dancing, which is lovely to spend time with friends and get my fitness up again. Can't believe how unfit I've got over the yeah, COVID break. So, you know, all that aerobic exercise that I was getting, I obviously haven't for a while. So just kind of trying to get back into the grips of doing that again. But it's such good fun. Absolutely love it. Jack has gone back to university. He had just over a year out of university because of COVID, and now he's gone back to Newcastle and loving it. So that's really nice. The house is a bit quieter, which is very nice because, as you know, well, as you probably know, my son is a musician, so he's always playing instruments and things. So it's nice and quiet. But I do miss him like that much. Don't tell him, but yeah, I am missing him. Otherwise, yeah, we've just been plodding along with life really, and really getting back into my knitting again, and hopefully get back into the podcasting a bit more often again as well. So The shop, I haven't been well enough to do any dyeing. I've done a few skeins, but nothing really worth putting into the shop yet, but I'm hoping to get back on top of that as well very soon. And yeah, that's about it from me. So leave a comment below, let me know what you're working on, and thank you so much for spending a little bit of your time in my corner of the world. And I will catch up with you soon. Take care. Bye.